All right. British conversational English. Always found it fascinating. Um, kind of like a puzzle, you know. We've got excerpts from British conversational English, intermediate to advanced elements, and everyday English. 5 native phrases for natural conversation. So it's like, what are the secrets?
Think of it like an iceberg. You see the words, right?
Yeah.
But underneath,
Yeah.
all these unspoken rules, cultural cues.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So picture this. You're in London, ready to chat with the locals. We're going to give you the phrases, the hidden rules, the whole shebang.
Let's start with the politeness thing. Lots of indirectness.
Yeah, both sources mention that. Like they're allergic to direct confrontation, this whole dance around saying what you mean.
Exactly. And then you've got this phrase, the thing is. It's like a signal. Polite, but important point coming. Hear it all the time.
Like that manager praising the employee's work, but then the thing is to mention the lateness.
Perfect example. Not being dishonest, just
Mhm.
tactful. Consideration for feelings. It's not just avoiding conflict, it's this deeper thing. Negative politeness.
Negative politeness. Now that's interesting.
Basically, respecting someone's autonomy, not imposing, like
Yeah.
minimizing intrusion on their time, space, all that.
So being indirect gives them space to react without feeling pressured. Makes sense. I'm already seeing how this works in those subtle British conversations.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just the thing is.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Can't wait to uncover more of that. Okay, another phrase. Fair enough seems like the ultimate British response to, well, anything.
Right. So versatile. Running late, fair enough. Splitting the bill, fair enough. Acknowledges the point, moves things along.
And it's so understated, like agreeing without the fanfare.
Exactly. Practicality, emotional restraint. I get it. Let's move on.
No drama. Okay, so tricky topics. Agreement. What about when things go wrong?
Disappointment. Universal. And the Brits have this phrase. What a shame.
Covers so much. Missed train. What a shame. Cracked phone screen. What a shame. Train strikes derail your plans. Still works.
It does. But it's the tone, you know,
Yeah.
genuine empathy, recognizing their disappointment, acknowledging the feeling.
So it's the sincerity behind it. Being present, responding with care.
We got it. Ready for some British complaining.
Let's hear it. They've turned complaining into an art, especially those everyday inconveniences.
And they love this phrase, a complete nightmare. So dramatic, particularly with traffic woes, which, let's face it, are common in the UK.
I can hear it now. The M25. Total car park. A complete nightmare.
Nailed it. But here's the thing often there's humor in it, shared experience. UK is known for traffic, delays. So it's almost like a bonding ritual.
Complaining with a wink, connecting over shared frustrations.
Exactly. Even complaining is social.
Before we move on, anything standing out to you so far?
It's amazing how phrases like fair enough, what a shame, they reveal so much about British values, communication styles, little windows into a bigger world.
Love that. And speaking of windows into British culture, let's talk queuing.
Ah, yes. Sacred. Both sources emphasize that. It's more than just waiting your turn. Order, fairness, social cohesion.
And queue jumping is like the ultimate offense.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Disregard for the rules. Oh, I remember once I was queuing for Wimbledon, right? And this guy tries to sneak in a few spots ahead. The looks he got, oh man. Could have melted through the pavement.
Oh, that's classic. Some things are just sacred. Okay, so you've conquered the queue. Now you're chatting. What have you been up to? Seems pretty standard.
It is, yeah. But there's a layer to it I want you to
Oh.
share, but keep it brief, lighthearted. It's
Huh?
more like social grace than a deep dive into your life story.
So no existential crises at the bus stop then?
Maybe save that for later.
Uh,
Which brings us to humor. We talked about it with the complaining, but
yeah.
it's everywhere.
Yeah, much bigger than that.
Totally. Diffuses tension, builds rapport. Even helps in awkward situations.
Like self-deprecation, downplaying achievements, poking fun at yourself.
Exactly. Seems humble, relatable, big in British culture. Avoids that whole boastful vibe.
Makes sense, like that classic understatement, just a drizzle when it's pouring rain.
Perfect example. Humor and understatement, hand in hand. Even disagreement, frustration. They can make it lighthearted, soften the blow.
Let's not take this too seriously, even if we disagree. Kind of like that.
Exactly. And those nonverbal cues, eyebrow raise, wry smile, the tone, they're saying a lot.
So it's not just the words, it's reading between the lines, cracking the code.
Right. Language, culture, social awareness, it's a dance. But once you get it, those conversations, they're richer, more meaningful.
We've talked a lot about indirectness. Are there times when being direct is better?
Good question. Makes you wonder. Are there situations, topics where the rules relax a bit?
Like work. Maybe clarity, efficiency are more important than softening the blow.
Could be, especially when time's tight, stakes are high.
Yeah.
Might be more straightforward.
But even then, there's still that British decorum.
Oh, absolutely. Politeness is valued, always. But the expression, it adapts. Even directness has nuances.
Fascinating. Okay, back to softening the blow. Good for criticism, bad news. But any downsides? Could it backfire?
You're thinking maybe misunderstandings, lack of clarity.
Exactly. If someone's always beating around the bush, are you really on the same page?
It's a valid point. Shows how important it is to be aware. Your style, those British norms, how they interact.
Finding that balance, cultural sensitivity, and clear communication.
Exactly. Be adaptable, observe, use your judgment, and expect a little ambiguity.
That's part of the fun, right? Different styles,
Well,
cultural nuances. That's what makes it interesting.
totally agree. Ready for another layer of complexity.
I'm all ears. What you got?
Well, politeness, indirectness. How does that work when opinions get strong?
Ooh, that's good. When there's potential for disagreement, even conflict.
This is where it gets fun.
Yeah.
Even then, there's this hedging qualifying statements, not being indecisive, just presenting views open for discussion.
So instead of this is wrong, it's more like, I feel this might not be the best way.
Exactly. Leave space for other opinions. Doesn't sound too assertive, dogmatic.
Makes sense. Politeness, avoiding confrontation.
Okay.
It all ties in.
It does. And listening is key. Not just the words, but how they're framed.
So decoding the message, the intention.
You got it. A linguistic puzzle. Got to piece together the clues.
Wow. British conversation is more complex than it looks.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. Always learning, adapting.
We've just scratched the surface. But even so, it feels like we're getting a glimpse into those values, that communication style.
Amazing how small cues can reveal so much about a culture, right?
Totally. Before we wrap this part up, one last thing.
And that is
Hedging for polite opinions. Do they do that with sensitive topics, controversial stuff?
oh, that's interesting. A dilemma, right? Disagreement, potential conflict, but still polite, indirect.
I'm dying to know.
Well, you'll have to wait for part 3.
Okay, back for the final part of our British conversational English deep dive. I'm really starting to get a feel for how it all works.
Glad to hear it. And we saved some good stuff for last.
I can't wait. What else have you got?
Remember, we were talking about hedging, even with opinions.
Yeah, I tend to feel, it seems to me, softening things, leaving room for other views.
Right. And I was thinking, what about sensitive topics, controversial ones?
Ooh, good point. How do they handle that? Disagreement, maybe even conflict, but still got to be polite, indirect.
It's a balancing act.
Right.
But even with strong differences, there's this emphasis on civility, respect.
So no shouting matches.
Not really, at least not socially. They might use humor, irony, even teasing, but gently.
Sounds subtle, like a verbal chess game. Outmaneuver your opponent, but with wit.
Exactly. Express your views, but keep the peace. And remember, British humor, Understatement, self-deprecation. Even when it's heated, there's a playfulness to it.
Brings us back to that politeness thing, the core of it all.
It is the thread that runs through everything. Greetings, tricky topics, even those potentially heated debates.
Amazing what these little cues tell us about a culture.
The power of language shaping our interactions.
You know, I'm just struck by how complex this all is. British conversational English, I mean.
It is fascinating, isn't it? And we've only just dipped our toes in. There's always more to uncover.
That's what makes it so fun, like a linguistic adventure. And now, with what we've learned, I feel ready to tackle those conversations with confidence.
And maybe a bit of that British wit, eh?
Absolutely. So, to our listener, practice the phrases, embrace the indirectness, and a little humor goes a long way.
Most importantly, be curious, open minded. You might learn something about British culture, maybe even about yourself.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, happy chatting.